It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful.
The contents of Princess Diana's time capsule are an ode to the early 90s.
What if the story you thought you knew about the royal family was never the whole truth? For years, whispers surrounded Princess Diana, rumors of secrets hidden deep, locked away even after her passing. People brushed them off as gossip, but what if those whispers had weight?
We have reports from Paris that Diana, Princess of Wales, has been killed in a car accident.
Behind palace walls, where every smile is measured and every silence feels louder than words, a revelation has shattered the calm. A DNA test, quiet, clinical, and undeniable, has stirred the past in ways no one expected. Princess Catherine, known for her composure, could not hold back her tears when confronted with Diana's final secret. It wasn't just a test result, it was a crack in the polished image of the monarchy itself. Why now? Why this secret? And why is it powerful enough to leave Catherine, the future queen, shaken to her core?
After years in the public eye, here's proof that Kate Middleton is ready to be queen.
This isn't about scandals or headlines. It's about legacy, about the kind of truth that refuses to stay buried. Stay with us as we uncover what the palace never wanted the world to know, and why Diana's shadow still looms larger than ever before. Diana's legacy that refused to fade. Princess Diana was more than a royal figure. She was a phenomenon. Her presence extended far beyond the gilded walls of palaces, reaching into the hearts of millions across the world. Even after her tragic passing in 1997, her influence did not vanish.
The princess who spent her life in the relentless glare of the public eye died in a speeding car.
It lingered in photographs that still grace magazine covers, in documentaries that continue to resurface, and in the voices of people who never met her yet, speak of her as though she were family. Diana was a symbol of compassion, resilience, and vulnerability, and that combination made her unforgettable. But the story of Diana has never rested peacefully. Alongside admiration came questions, doubts, and endless speculation. Was the world told the full truth of her struggles? Were her cries for help fully heard, or were they drowned out by tradition and duty? The very mystery surrounding her final years only deepened the fascination, making her less of a figure from the past and more of a shadow that refuses to fade. For the royal family, that shadow has been both a blessing and a burden. Every time they step into the public eye, Diana's memory stands close behind them. Crowds wave at Catherine and William, yet many in those crowds still hold banners or wear badges that honor Diana. The unspoken comparisons never stop. Catherine, in particular, has been at the center of these parallels. When she wears Diana's sapphire ring, it is not just jewelry, it is a bridge to a woman the world still mourns. When she greets children with warmth and kneels to meet them at eye level, people see echoes of the mother-in-law she never met. Yet those gestures of respect and continuity carry weight. Catherine has embraced Diana's legacy with grace, but with it comes the burden of expectations she never asked for. Living in Diana's shadow means every choice is magnified, every action scrutinized through a lens of comparison. And now, with whispers of Diana's final secret, something long hidden, something that shakes the very narrative the palace has built, Catherine finds herself carrying more than tradition. She is carrying the echoes of a woman whose story was never allowed to fully close.
Princess Kate had a big surprise.
For William, Diana's presence is deeply personal, almost sacred. She is not just a historical figure, but the guiding star of his life. For Catherine, that presence is an invisible companion in every public duty and private moment of reflection. It binds her to her husband, but it also places her in a role that no other royal bride has faced. She must balance her own identity while honoring a woman whose shadow stretches across decades.
Princess Diana's legacy just continues living on. Just 2 months after 3 new portraits of Kate Middleton were released in honor of her 40th birthday,
Diana's legacy refuses to fade because it was never just about royalty, it was about humanity. And as long as the monarchy stands, her memory will continue to shape not only how the world views the royal family, but also how those inside the palace live with the choices and secrets left behind. The DNA test that changed everything. It all began quietly, almost too quietly, for the magnitude of what it revealed. Within the thick walls of the palace, behind doors that have seen centuries of secrets, a simple test was carried out. A test that many might dismiss as routine. Yet the result it carried had the power to shake the very core of the royal family. A DNA test, clinical, unfeeling, rooted in science, had delivered a truth that no one inside those walls was prepared to face. The revelation was devastating in its simplicity. There was no room left for rumor, no comfort in calling it speculation. It was not an opinion whispered by the press or a theory spun by biographers. It was a fact, cold, undeniable, and permanent. The secret Diana had carried, one she perhaps had hoped would remain buried with her, had been uncovered. And with it, the carefully maintained image of her story cracked open. When Catherine first heard the results, the weight of it was unbearable. For a woman who has spent years balancing royal expectations with personal dignity, this was the moment her composure failed her. Witnesses said she broke down in tears, her usual poise stripped away by the enormity of the truth. It was not just science being revealed to her, it was history rewriting itself in real time. Diana's story, already heavy with tragedy and betrayal, now had another layer, one that Catherine never expected to inherit. The DNA test did more than reveal a secret. It forced the family to confront questions they had long avoided. Who truly controls the royal narrative? Can the crown still protect itself in an age where technology leaves no place for half-truths? For Catherine and William, the discovery was not only a personal wound, but also a reminder that the monarchy's past will never stay buried. Every decision, every scandal, every hidden detail eventually finds its way back into the light. The palace has always prided itself on its ability to manage its image. For generations, carefully crafted statements, staged photographs, and polished appearances have shielded the crown from too much intrusion. But DNA has no loyalty to tradition or power. It cannot be spun by clever words or erased by silence. It tells only what is real, and in this case, reality was far harsher than anyone expected. For William, the revelation struck deeply. It wasn't just about his mother's memory, it was about his own future. If Diana's truth was now altered, how would the world view him? How would the monarchy's fragile credibility survive this? For Catherine, the heartbreak lay in knowing she had stepped into a family already burdened by ghosts, and now she was carrying a truth she never asked to hold. The DNA test didn't just reopen old wounds, it created new ones. It reminded the world, and the royal family itself, that history cannot be fully controlled. Some truths, once revealed, have the power to change everything. Catherine's emotional reaction. For the public, Catherine has always been the picture of composure, calm, steady, and graceful. She rarely lets her guard slip in front of cameras, no matter how tense the moment might be. Her polished demeanor has long been part of why people admire her. But this revelation, this secret tied to Diana, was too heavy to hide behind the usual royal smile. It was said that when Catherine first heard the truth, she broke down completely, unable to hold back the flood of emotion. For once, the woman known for her elegance was simply human.
Kate Middleton sparkles during a state visit at Windsor Castle.
Raw and shaken. The impact of this discovery wasn't just about the past. It reached into her present and stretched into the uncertain future of her children. Catherine has always made Diana a presence in George, Charlotte, and Louis's lives through stories, gestures, and even the jewelry she wears. Diana has been more than a memory. She has been a guiding spirit, someone Catherine wants her children to look up to with pride. But now, faced with this hidden truth, Catherine was left with questions she had no easy answers to. How do you tell children who their grandmother truly was, when the truth could reshape the way they see themselves and their place in history? Her tears were layered with emotions that words could barely capture. There was sorrow, not only for Diana, but for the burden that truth now placed on her family. There was fear, because the revelation threatened to ripple outward, affecting her children's identities and even the monarchy's fragile image. There was empathy, a deep ache for a woman she had never met, yet felt connected to every single day. And there was frustration, too. Frustration that even after decades, Diana's shadow still carried secrets powerful enough to shake lives. In many ways, Catherine's breakdown revealed just how deeply Diana's presence has shaped her role as a wife, mother, and future queen. She has lived with constant comparisons to her mother-in-law, carrying the weight of admiration and expectation without complaint. But now, with this truth revealed, the comparison shifted into something more painful. Catherine was not just honoring Diana anymore, she was being forced to carry the consequences of Diana's hidden struggles. Behind those palace doors, Catherine's tears marked more than grief. They marked a turning point. She realized the legacy she was working so hard to protect for her children was more complicated than she had ever imagined. And yet, in that heartbreak, she also felt an unspoken bond with Diana. Two women, separated by time, but united by duty, love, and the constant burden of secrets inside the royal family. The palace walls tremble. The monarchy has always been more than just a family. It is an institution carefully designed to project stability, elegance, and tradition. Its power does not come from armies or political speeches, but from appearances, symbolism, and the perception of unshakable continuity. For centuries, the towering golden walls of palaces have done more than protect the royals from the outside world. They have hidden the whispers, the scandals, and the secrets that could damage the image of a flawless crown. Behind those walls, countless truths have been buried, rewritten, or disguised under the glittering mask of royal protocol. Yet, what we are witnessing now is unlike anything the monarchy has faced before. This revelation is not a rumor that can be silenced, not a scandal that can be explained away. It is written in science, in DNA, in facts that no royal decree can erase. The news of the DNA test has shaken the very foundation of the monarchy. Unlike political controversies or personal dramas, this is something different. Science leaves little room for denial. For King Charles, the weight of this truth is not just personal, it is dynastic. The revelation strikes at the very heart of the monarchy's most sacred promise, the clear and uncontested line of succession. If questions of bloodline enter the conversation, then centuries of tradition suddenly look fragile. How can the crown promise stability if its own foundations are under dispute? The golden crown may glitter on the outside, but inside the palace, the air is thick with uncertainty and fear. For Prince William, the implications are no less heavy. He has spent his life preparing for the throne, walking a path carved out for him since childhood. But now, this revelation does not just challenge his role, it challenges the very identity of what it means to be a future king.
Conservationist, father, and future king.
Every smile, every public duty, every carefully planned appearance with Catherine and their children has been part of the image of continuity, of the monarchy moving confidently toward the future. But how does one lead with certainty when the ground beneath is shaking? William, known for his calm and composed demeanor, faces a storm he cannot control. A storm that could redefine not only his future, but also the future of his children. And then there is Camilla, the queen consort, who already carries a complicated relationship with the public.
Once known as the other woman, Camilla is now the queen. Kind of. The new king's darling wife has become the queen consort.
Her presence has always stirred mixed feelings of admiration from some, resentment from others, and memories of the past that never seem to fade away. This DNA revelation does not directly involve her, yet it touches her life in the most personal of ways. It questions the world she fought so hard to secure. For Camilla, the palace's golden walls no longer feel like protection. They feel like fragile glass, ready to shatter with the next blow. For the public, the timing could not be worse. The monarchy has already been tested by decades of scandal, changing cultural values, and rising criticism in an age where transparency is demanded more than secrecy. Every royal misstep is amplified by the media and dissected on social platforms within seconds. Trust, once the monarchy's greatest shield, has been eroding with every controversy. Now, with a scientific truth laid bare, many are left wondering, what else has been hidden? What other truths lie buried beneath the palace's polished marble floors? The palace walls may not fall today, but cracks have appeared. And history teaches us something dangerous about cracks they spread. They deepen. They invite questions that can no longer be silenced. This DNA revelation is not just a family matter. It is a challenge to the very myth of unbroken stability that the monarchy has built over centuries. The crown may still glitter on the surface, but behind it, tremors are shaking the ground, reminding us that even the strongest walls are not immune to collapse when truth demands to be heard. Diana's shadow over the future. Even in death, Diana's presence lingers like a whisper through the palace halls, refusing to fade into silence. She was more than just a princess. She was a cultural force, a symbol of compassion, and a figure who connected with people in a way the monarchy had never seen before. Decades after her tragic passing, her name still has the power to ignite headlines, spark debates, and stir emotions across generations. And now, with this secret finally coming to light, her shadow stretches even further into the future. This revelation doesn't just reopen old wounds, it ensures that Diana's story will once again dominate the world's attention, demanding that the royals confront a past they never fully escaped. For Prince William, the weight of his mother's memory has always been heavy. From his earliest days, the world has looked at him and seen Diana's eyes, her kindness, and even her quiet rebellion against outdated traditions. Now, with her secret exposed, William must navigate a storm that ties his own destiny directly to hers in ways he never expected. Every step he takes toward the throne is no longer just about him, it is about Diana's legacy echoing through his reign. The questions raised by this revelation are not only about his role as a future king, but also about his role as Diana's son. How does one move forward when the world is constantly looking backward? For Catherine, Diana's shadow feels just as real. From the beginning of her marriage to William,
it is time for some royal news. Prince William and Kate Middleton celebrated their anniversary.
Comparisons have been inevitable. Catherine's fashion, her warmth with the public, and even her devotion to her children have all drawn parallels to Diana. And yet, Catherine has worked tirelessly to carve her own identity, to be seen as her own woman, rather than just Diana's echo. But this revelation makes that harder. The moment her tears fell, it became clear that Diana's story still has the power to pierce even the strongest hearts within the palace. Catherine knows that the future of the monarchy now depends on how she and William respond, not only to the truth itself, but to the emotions and expectations Diana left behind. The impact does not end with William and Catherine. For their children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, this revelation means growing up in a world filled with questions they never expected to face. Royal children already live under the weight of extraordinary expectations, but now they must also carry a legacy shaped not only by the crown, but by the ghost of their grandmother. The story of Diana is no longer a history lesson. It is a living presence that will influence how they are seen, how they are judged, and perhaps even how they understand themselves. At some point, they will ask questions, they will want answers, and the answers will be heavier than any child should have to bear. Yet, in many ways, the truth only strengthens Diana's legacy. Her influence was never limited to her lifetime. It was rooted in her ability to connect with people in their most human moments. She was called the People's Princess, not because of her crown, but because of her heart. This revelation shows that even in silence, Diana shaped the monarchy in ways no one could have imagined. Her story is not finished. It continues to unfold, bending the future of the royal family in directions no one anticipated. Catherine's tears stand as proof of how powerful Diana's presence still is. They are not just tears of sadness, they are tears of recognition, of realization that Diana's impact did not end in 1997. It flows through every decision, every headline, and every public appearance the royals make today. In the end, Diana's shadow is not only over the monarchy, it is stitched into its very fabric. A reminder that the truth has a way of outliving even the brightest crowns. Diana's final secret has been revealed, and with it, the world sees once again how fragile even the strongest institutions can be. For Catherine, it was not just about royal duty. It was about confronting the raw truth of a woman she deeply respects and has always tried to honor. Her tears remind us that behind crowns and titles, these are human lives, filled with emotions, fears, and bonds that go far beyond tradition. What does this mean for the royal family moving forward? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: Diana's presence will never fade. Her influence continues to guide, inspire, and even challenge the monarchy years after her passing. And now, with this secret exposed, her story feels more alive than ever. If you've been moved by this revelation and want to know how it unfolds, stay with us. More truths are waiting to be uncovered, more questions demanding answers, and more emotions to be shared. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about Diana's final secret? We'd love to hear from you.